Glad you're with us here on Speed. It is time to set the field for the Samsung 500. NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying headed your way in a matter of moments. 48 teams here, 443 positions. Beautiful weather. Hey, folks, glad you are with us. Steve Burns and Hermie Sadler with you. And Hermie, history shows us you want to start in the top 10 here at the Texas Motor Speedway.
Yeah, I mean, and it's even more so with this new car. If one thing we've learned with this new car is track position is unbelievably important. You get out front and get that clean air. It really makes a big difference. But you're right, a lot of race winners have come from that top 10. So these guys want to get it done. And with the temperature when this qualifying is going to start, I don't think I want to go first or second, but I don't think track temperature is going to be a big difference one way or the other starting at this time of day here at Texas.
Quickest drivers in practice, Mark Martin, David Rudiman, and Kurt Busch.
Yeah, I mean, the first, Mark Martin, Kurt Busch, not really a big surprise, but David Rudiman, look for him to get that first pole very, very soon. He's been coming on, so today could be the day.
16 races here at the Texas Motor Speedway, Hermie. 12 of them have said winners coming from the top 10. So it can be done deeper in the field, but history shows you want to be.
You don't want to take that chance.
No, sir. We'll take a break, but before we do, we're going to show you the menu coming up here on Speed. Sprint Cup qualifying headed your way, followed by NASCAR Smarts and Trackside, 7 p.m. Eastern. Greg Biffle joins us. Be with us here. Stay here on Speed. Paul Menard and John Andretti, the first two drivers to qualify here in Sprint Cup qualifying. 48 drivers here for 43 spots. And Randy Pemberton, the third driver out. David Reagan snuck that number 6 car into the top 10 at the end of practice.
Yeah, he sure did. Paul Menard will roll off first. John Andretti second. And David, you had a good practice effort there. What do you think about your thoughts of getting qualified here?
Our UPS Ford was good today during practice. We spent a little extra time on qualifying trim, and that's important. We haven't qualified very good this year at all, so this is a track I think we qualified in the top 10 here last year, so it's going to hurt going out a little early, but our UPS Ford's fast and feels really good.
All right, get a good qualifying effort. David Reagan finished 11th here in the fall. To Bob Dillner.
Well, Randy, qualifying very important here at the Texas Motor Speedway, but sometimes there are more important things, and I want to show you. Check this out. This is the helmet that Elliott Sadler will use for the month of April, and of course, April is Autism Awareness Month, and you're raising some money with this helmet for a great cause, Elliott.
Yeah, all for autism awareness, and being April what it is for autism awareness and what we try to do on the racetrack, on and off the racetrack, is very special to me. We're going to wear this in every race in April, and then actually on my birthday, April the 30th, we're going to put it up on SaddlerFoundation.org and go through May 19th. And the last couple of years, we've been able to raise around $7,000 a piece just by the helmet. So that's thanks to the fans at home for being a part of this and raising good money for a great cause. So it's cool I get to wear a neat helmet. I love the design the guys did on it, but it's even better when I get to auction off at the end of the month.
All right, your brother wants to know. He's on set with us. How are you going to qualify here at Texas?
Not as good as I want. We were not that great in practice and qualifying trim, but actually we were pretty good in race trim. The Best Buy car was very comfortable, and I could run the middle or the bottom, so happy about that. We missed it a little bit in qualifying trim. We changed a lot of stuff, so when I go off into turn 3 coming to the green, I have no idea what it's going to do. I'm going to have to feel it out pretty quick. I only get one lap, so we'll see what happens.
I'll check this helmet out again because it is an awesome-looking helmet. And remember, at the end of this month, you can go to SaddlerFoundation.org and bid on this helmet that Elliott is going to wear.
All right, thank you very much, Bob. And Hermie, we talked about needing to start in the top 10. Well, your brother won here April of 2004, and he won from the 19th starting position.
Yeah, and he loves this racetrack, and they've been struggling to find the combination on these kind of racetracks, but not because he's my brother, but he's a really good qualifier, so don't be surprised to see him pick it up. But a cool helmet for a good cause. Autism awareness is very important to my family.
SaddlerFoundation.org.
O-R-G, baby.
That's it. By the way, Lowe's Motor Speedway announced this week that they're going to donate proceeds from ticket sales to the All-Star Race to Autism Speaks. So
we're going to have Marcus Smith on the set here tomorrow to talk about it. Look forward to it.
All right, well, qualifying is headed your way. We're going to set the field for the Samsung 500. Don't forget, Mark Martin, quickest in practice, followed by David Rudiman and Kurt Busch.
There they are, ready to qualify for the pole position for Sunday's Samsung 500. among them. Jeff Gordon, Greg Biffle, there's Matt Kenseth, and Tony Stewart. Mark Martin was the fastest man in practice. Who will win the pole? Hi, everybody. Mike Joy, Larry McReynolds, Darrell Waltrip with you. Far from Martinsville, the paperclip, the hot dogs, all of the fun of short track racing. Now we get down to serious business and serious speed because, as you said earlier, they roll off into that corner at 2:10.
You got it.
Have to get out the other side and make those transitions here, which can be tough.
You know, normally, a lot of times we say one and done. Here it's one and I don't want no more. I can't take no more. So that's probably what we're going to see, a lot of one and dones today because the speed is incredible. I don't have the words to tell you what it feels like to dive off in the corner here at over 200 miles an hour. It literally is breathtaking. And you'll hear that from the guys when they're talking to their crew after they make their run. They'll be going, my car. That's kind of how you feel.
Well, I think what is amazing, yeah, the speeds they carry off in the corners, but remember, this is a 1.5 mile racetrack with a lot of corner, and they're going to be averaging well over 190 miles an hour. The fastest qualifying session in all of 2008 was right here a year ago, and I will guarantee you when it's all said and done today, it's probably going to be the fastest we'll see in 2009.
All right, Paul Menard will be the first driver to take time. There's the Menards Quaker State Ford Fusion, his best qualifying effort here, 11th in the second race last year. Now he is just barely in the top 35 in owner points, only 3 points ahead of David Gilliland for TRG, the Racers Group.
And Mike, that changed after Martinsville. It ended up being a moot point going into Martinsville because qualifying was rained out, but by finishing 25th, he bumped back into the top 35 after Martinsville.
And there was so much going on in that race at Martinsville that a lot of racing going on for a lot of different reasons. But that top 35 was as hot as contested as it was to who's going to win the race.
28:43, 189.9 miles an hour, the first lap for Menard.
Now, he had a great qualifying run last night for the Nationwide Series race that'll be run tomorrow. He qualified third last night.
Well, that's not a bad lap right there, Larry, when you think about Mark Martin, who was like a 28:30 something. So that's pretty quick time.
Second lap is slower coming up. John Andretti, David Reagan, Joey Logano. NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying presented by Subway, home of the famous always made fresh $5 footlong. Subway, eat fresh. And brought to you by the Polaris XP sales event going on from now until April 30th. And by Toyota. For the latest Toyota racing information, visit toyotaracing.com. Toyota, moving forward. John Andretti
I'm sorry, Mike,
is the next car to run.
Yeah, I really like the tire they brought here this weekend. It's obviously fast, and the cars are handling well. I haven't seen anybody's car look out of control all through practice, and hopefully we won't see that during the qualifying session.
28.67 for Andretti, the myautoteam.com Chevrolet. Now, a big announcement expected Monday about a NASCAR owner going to run the Indy 500, and it's rumored that this man, John Andretti, will be the driver.
And just think about that, Mike. I know a lot was publicized about Tony Stewart during the double duty on the same day. John Andretti was the first driver to do it back in 1994. He run the 500 and the 600 at Lowe's Motor Speedway on the same day and evening.
Our true value track description: 24-degree banking in the corners, 5 degrees on the dog leg and the back stretch, which is 1,330 feet here at Texas Motor Speedway.
And what makes that front straightaway so long is because of the D shape. The way you sweep around the front straightaway here makes it good bit longer than what the back straightaway is. The back straightaway is actually pretty short for a track this fast.
David Reagan in the UPS Ford was 10th in practice, but he's still looking for his first top 10 start of 2009. His best was 13th in California.
You know, other than Matt Kenseth sweeping the first 2 races, the 500 Auto Club Speedway, it's not been a lot of bright spots for any of the Roush Fenway cars. But this one here is kind of confusing because he had a tough rookie year. Really looked like he was right on the brink of winning a race last year, but they've kind of fallen off the map here in 2009.
All right, Reagan is one and done, and he is quickest so far. Matt, he's 4 1/1000ths quicker than Paul Menard.
Just pushing Paul Menard down to second. When you look back on your fast lap, where did you have an issue and what was it?
Over the bumps in 3 and 4, we've been kind of fighting that all day, but got better. We made a few changes. Larry, Nick, and I sat down and kind of talked about what the car was doing, and they made a few changes in the good direction. So, you know, that's done with. Now we just worry about tomorrow and getting the quicker state fusion good in race practice. We haven't done any race runs yet, so we'll work on that.
All right, thank you, Paul.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Joey Logano next up in the Home Depot. Number 20 Toyota has one top 20 finish so far this year. That came at Las Vegas. It was 13th, and he's just 26 points away from that danger zone of having to qualify on time.
Now, this is his first return trip to a Sprint Cup Series race that he actually participated in the end of last year. He drove the 02 car here in the November race. He was 17th quickest in practice earlier. 28.53. It puts him third out of the 4 cars.
Here's Dick Berggren.
With Kyle Busch, Darrell Waltrip says this place is so fast it's almost impossible to describe. You're articulate. How fast is this place?
He's about right. It's pretty fast. You know, it's one of those places where it's fast enough you want to hold your breath, but you can't do it that long. So, you know, for sure it's a difficult racetrack. For me, it has been anyway, and we've been able to get a little bit better, but still need to do a little bit better at being able to try to win one here.
Of course, he won both the nationwide races here last year. Mr. Modesty, thanks.
And he's on the pole for the nationwide race tomorrow.
At over 188 miles per hour with a lot less horsepower than these Sprint Cup Series cars.
Casey Kane on track, the Budweiser Dodge. He is the only driver to win a pole here at Texas and go on and win the race that same weekend.
You know, one thing I notice about these cars, we have such a great view of going into turn 1. You've got to be comfortable with a car that is hung out. The back end is swung out from under you when you enter the corner. Because every car here, when they head off into turn 1, looks like it's going to spin out right before it gets caught.
Third for Casey Kane at a 28.43. He is 1/1000th slower than Paul Menard. Wow, that's close. Bobby Labonte, the Ask.com Ford, the next driver to qualify. Right now, the first 3 drivers are all at 28.43 seconds. David Reagan, 0.431. Paul Menard, 4.35. Casey Kane, 0.436. Now, Bobby Labonte has 2 poles here, 2003 and 4.
And I think he would consider this, well, I know he does, his home track. And winning here is big for Bobby because it would be like a home win.
He was 31st quickest in practice earlier today.
And Wednesday was inducted into the Texas Motorsports Hall of Fame.
5th quickest at a 28.652.
Well, Bobby was 31st in practice, so it's going to be right about that same range, it looks like. Matt?
Mike, solid performances here at TMS last year for David Reagan. Glad to be back on the big tracks where Roush family cars typically run well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a rough couple of weeks for our UPS team, and you know, I know just a few cars have went, but man, it feels good to see the number 6 on top. So, you know, hopefully that'll be a good top 10 or 15 starting spot. I think that you know, going out this early might hurt us a little bit, but real proud of our UPS team. We've been working really hard, and glad to see one of these 1.5 mile, 500-mile races come back.
He qualified in top 15 both races here a year ago.
And I think he may be right about one thing. I believe the guys that go later in the qualifying session are going to have a slight advantage. And based on the qualifying speed so far, a slight advantage would be all you need.
And I think where that will come, Darrell, is we're going to start getting some shade, especially in turn 1 and halfway through 1 and 2, and it'll just gain grip.
Yep.
Robbie Gordon was in the top 5 for a good part of the practice session.
Car looks good.
The Jim Beam Toyota never qualified better than 9th here.
It's not going to be what he's looking for, especially considering how he was in practice, because right now he's the slowest of the 7 cars.
That's a disappointing run there, because Robbie was right at the top of the sheet the whole time.
I don't think he made a late run in practice, ended up 22nd, but you're right, most of the session he was up near the top, and that's not going to show up in the qualifying result. He is 0.3 off of what David Reagan has run for fast time so far. Greg Biffle has a best start here of 4th. and has a win here in this race in 2005 when he led 219 laps. He has 3 top 5 starts this year.
I believe he's got a shot at the pole, Larry. He was 4th quick in practice at a 56. If he picks it up a 10th or 2 like most of these guys have so far, got a pretty good chance of getting a pole here, looks to me like, at this point.
Looks like he rolled out a little early getting into turn 1 and was able to pick that gas up early, and that speed will carry all the way down the straightaway.
This car loves that. That's what you got to do with it. You got to have the discipline to do that.
And this team needs a turnaround. They're 23rd in the points versus 3rd last year after 6 races.
Got up off the bottom there coming out of turn 4. Looked like the car pushed pretty good with him coming off 4.
Boy, I'm telling you, he lost a ton over there because now he's 5th quickest, and he was on the pole till the middle of turn 3 and 4.
Coming up, Elliott Sadler, Matt Kenseth, and Tony Stewart. David Reagan and Paul Menard, 2 Fords are fastest so far as Elliott Sadler takes to the track in the Best Buy Dodge. He has 3 front row starts here and a win in 2004 when he was driving for Robert Yates. Got his first Cup top 10 here in 1999.
He was not very good in practice, Mike. And I tell you what, they've got, I believe it might actually be a tire rubbing. You know, you enter the corners a lot faster in qualifying than you normally do in practice. But I'm not so sure that hadn't hurt this race car because.
Yeah, it's up the hill there. You can't get to the bottom. That really hurts the lap time. Looks like it's bottoming out when it hits a bump. It just hit a little bump there in 3 and 4.
Looks like he may be a little faster than. No, he's actually the slowest of the 9 cars.
By a lot. Ton of smoke. By almost a second.
And that smoke at this speed, at this track, a little smoke pulls up in the cockpit with you, your foot jumps right off the gas, or at least it lightens up on it.
Just a ton of smoke rolling in the car. Hit a bad tire rub somewhere.
Let's check with Dick Berggren.
Hey, Mike, everybody's talking about A.J. Allmendinger. Why not? 3rd at Daytona, 9th last week at Martinsville, 15th in points. A part of what they're talking about is the uncertainty of your future. How long are you secure in this ride?
Maybe as long as we keep running well. But no, right now we're good through the 600 through Charlotte. So we had 5 more races just added, so that's a good thing. You know, we've had great sponsors all year support us, and this weekend we got Super 8 Motels, so that's another new one that's going to be good to have on the team. But yeah, you know, I mean, all I can do is go out there, run the wheels off it, and try to keep this Dodge up front every weekend. And as long as we do that, I hope everything else will take care of itself.
Well, he has been running the wheels off it, but he's still finishing every race, Mike.
Thanks, Dick. Here is Matt Kenseth. The DeWalt Ford fast right now, looking for the pole. A Roush Fenway car has it. David Reagan. Here is Kenseth trying to take it away. He's never started on the front row here. Pole shot for Matt Kenseth, 28.42.
Wow, he just 3 1,000ths of a second.
He stomped him, Larry.
That is unbelievable.
All right, yeah, it felt awesome.
Well, it looked awesome.
I mean, we have 4 cars right now separated by 8 1,000ths of a second around a 1.5 mile racetrack.
Three cars in the top half dozen for Roush, and 5 cars of the top 7 with Roush Yates power.
And we know this is just qualifying, but you know, we talked to David Reagan. We just watched Matt Kenseth right now temporarily sit on the pole. But this has been a good racetrack for Roush Fenway. We've had 16 races. They've won 7 times. An amazing thing, they've done it with about 5 or 6 different drivers.
Tony Stewart up next, trying to take the pole away from Ford. Stewart was 11th in practice. He's never started better than 8th here. He has a win here in the fall of '06.
And you watch those cars kind of hop through those bumps down there in the middle of 1 and 2, and you don't see the car moving around a lot. That means you got a lot of grip in the car, in the tires.
He was just off a little bit in several areas on that lap right there. He'll be 5th quickest at a 28.45.
If you could get out of those 40s, you might have a, you'd be a hot dog right now.
Yeah, the good news is he's only, what, 2 100ths off the pole. The bad news is he's 5th.
Yeah, right. Low 40 may be good. A high 40 may be way back in the field the way it's looking.
That way. Even Logano at a 53 and a Biffle at a 54.
Hard to believe that Tony Stewart's last pole came 119 races ago.
I think he'd be the first to admit that he's not what you call a great qualifier, but he is a great racer.
Yes, he is.
Kyle Busch's last pole came yesterday for tomorrow's nationwide race. He started third here in this race last year, won the pole at Las Vegas, driving that Bobby Labonte retro paint scheme for Interstate Batteries.
You know what's neat about this paint scheme? We talked about Bobby Labonte being inducted into the Texas Motorsports Hall of Fame. They have a tribute to Bobby on the deck lid of this race car.
And what I think is really neater is the fact that Kyle himself convinced Joe Gibbs and Norm Miller and all those guys to paint the car this way and pay tribute to Bobby this weekend. I thought that was pretty special.
Kyle was 13th quickest in practice.
Yeah, not too sporty of a qualifying lap. 6th for Kyle Busch.
Barely beats his teammate.
Let's meet the man who's fastest, Matt.
And catching up with Matt Kenseth on the pole by 3/1000ths of a second, like you mentioned. Matt, the flags are all showing a lot of wind. Did it affect your lap at all?
Maybe mentally more than it really affected it, but that was a lot better when we practiced. We practiced awful, and Drew and Chip made some good changes, and it was a lot better. So the headwind into 1 helped, and I kind of thought about that getting into 3, and I probably left a half a tenth or 10th down there. So it's certainly not going to be the pole going out this early, but it's a lot better than I thought we were going to be.
His best start here, 3rd back in 05.
And when he starts at the front, watch out. Jeff Gordon, DuPont National Guard Chevrolet of Rick Hendrick. Now, next Saturday on speed at Barrett Jackson in West Palm Beach, Rick Hendrick is going to sell at auction at no reserve the 2nd winningest Jeff Gordon DuPont Chevrolet ever.
Wow.
A car called Butthead, and Jeff won a bunch of races in it. And that'll be part of our speed coverage of Barrett Jackson next Saturday.
Yeah, we just can't have a car in NASCAR anymore named Butthead. It's not correct. Can't do it.
How about this run? Oh, just took a little off it between 3 and 4.
He gained it back, though. He stayed in the gas and carried it.
I love it. He always calls his lap coming off turn 4 all the time.
There it is, DW, 28:39. He's the quickest at just over 190 miles per hour.
Gordon won the pole here last fall. Started on the pole in 07 here due to points. Jeff Gordon quickest so far. Casey Mears will be the 14th driver to take time in the Jack Daniels Chevy of Richard Childress. Started 6th here in 2004 for Ganassi and has 2 4th-place finishes here.
You know, I was talking earlier in our practice show about I hope he gets, kind of gets settled in here and stays with the same team, same crew chief and all that. He doesn't have any bad habits because he hasn't been anywhere long enough to develop any. Hadn't had any crew chiefs or situation long enough to develop any. So I'd really love to see him get his year going here.
His best start of 2009, not great on qualifying day, 25th, 3 different occasions.
Yeah, that's not good there either.
He was 30th in practice and a 28.83 is 13th of 14. So see if Casey's going to get a little more on the 2nd lap.
Thing looks a little stobbed up in the back, like it's got a lot of rear spring or shock or something on it, just not getting down at all.
I think we'll see some of our go or go homers run that 2nd lap. We've only seen 1 car do it, and that was Paul Menard. You just start losing so much grip in the tires on your 2nd lap.
Matt?
Gripping the steering wheel.
Well, Jeff, the guys in the booth described your lap. How would you describe that lap?
Oh, I was really happy with it. Did everything that I wanted to do. This wind is playing a little bit of havoc, so you got to adjust it. Not necessarily your line, but just how deep you get in and how hard you pick it up. So, man, I couldn't ask for anything more out of the car. 39. I told Steve Letarte I thought it'd take a 35, and it might take better than that. I don't know. I feel like that was about as solid lap as I put in a long time. There's some good cars that are going to go later. We'll see what happens, but really excited about having National Guard GED Plus on board. They do some great things for kids out there, especially those that are looking, who are qualified to get their GED. So, man, I just feel good about that lap. I hope it holds up.
I believe he likes that lap.
I like it.
Thanks, Matt. Marcus Ambrose has 4 top 20 finish in the 6 races this season. and he's been top 15 in the last two, 21st in points for the Clorox car. And he's 9th with a 28.53.
He was 19th in practice, so he picked up a little bit.
Dick?
Well, if somebody's going to grab the pole away from Jeff Gordon, it could well be Kurt Busch. You were so fast in practice. Weather's a little bit different. You going to be fast enough to come out of here with P1?
Oh, we hope so. I mean, we made just small changes on the Miller Lite Dodge, hoping the track would come to us a bit more for qualifying. So it's always cool just to have a shot at the pole. And right now with the numbers, everybody's so close. You could end up on it or you could end up 10th. Where's our best shot?
Is this car as good as the one you had in Atlanta?
We like to hope so, but we had to bring something different this week because I think it's going to teach us more as the season progresses. So who knows?
Okay, good luck. Thank you.
Denny Hamlin coming off a pair of second-place finishes. His best start of the season is 6th at Texas' sister track, Atlanta. Led 296 laps at Martinsville, as yet again for the 7th time in 11 races, the fellow who led the most laps, and that was Hamlin, didn't end up in victory lane.
But you know, I think to support what Kurt Busch was talking about, Jeff Gordon's on the pole at a 28.39, and Greg Biffle is 10th at a 28.54. That's a 10th and a half separating the top 10 cars right now.
Darrell, he dipped that left front down a little to the apron going into turn 3. By design or by accident?
I think sometimes you just get down there and you're just going so fast that you misjudge just a little bit. I don't think he would, you know, he didn't choose to put it there, but I've seen that happen a lot here, where you're trying to clip that thing in there just right and you get a little too low, and it does hurt your lap time.
So Hamlin 11th out of 16 right now. And here is David Rudiman, who had a great run in practice, second fastest only to Mark Martin, and coming in here as chase material, 11th in Sprint Cup points.
Well, the good thing for David is he likes this racetrack. He drove the truck here a number of times. I don't recall him winning the pole here, but I think he may have. If not, he was on the front row a couple of times.
In 3 appearances in the Cup car, his best start is 6th. But in the 5 races since Daytona, he started 4 times in the top dozen.
He ran a 28.48 in practice. If he can just pick up a 10th, he can jump in front of Jeff Gordon.
Looked like he got through the bumps, Larry, and it upset the car a little bit more than he needed to, and maybe hurt him from getting back to the throttle. But boy, she jumped there when he got back into 3 and 4, and right now it's pegged to the pole.
He's going to be in good shape here. He's going to do it, I think.
Yep, 28.34.
Yep, he did.
P1, man, P1.
Well, Jeff Gordon said it would take a 35 to win the pole, and he wasn't wrong.
It's pretty close to it.
Coming up, Michael Waltrip, Sam Hornish, Kevin Harvick. Here's David Rudiman's boss, Michael Waltrip, in the Napa Toyota. Michael has 1 second row start here, driving for DEI in 2002, and comes in here 17th in the standings. By the way, Darrell, that pole you were trying to remember was fall of 2007 for what was then the Busch Series race. David Rudiman did win the pole.
Yeah, I knew he'd been on the pole here. I couldn't remember if it was in the truck or not. But how'd you like to be Mikey? Now, he's got to go right out behind his teammate. And Mike says, I got to follow that.
Well, I hope some of it rubbed off, because Michael was 39th in practice.
Of course, the other Michael Waltrip Racing affiliated car, Marcos Ambrose, is 10th right now in the 47 car.
This car just doesn't look very happy. Looks to me like he's kind of got his hands full, to tell you the truth.
Off the gas a long time in the middle of 3 and 4. And it's not going to be what they were looking for. He's 16th out of the 18 cars.
28.83.
Car looked nervous
for Waltrip. That's half a second off pole.
Michael doing double duty here this weekend. He's going to race in the Nationwide Series race tomorrow.
Now that car coming out through there, you can see how it's kind of running sideways, dog tracking down through there.
Too loose, Michael said.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Sam Hornish up next, the Mobil 1 Dodge. Hornish has 3 Indy Racing League wins here. He's started 2 Cup races and 2 in the Nationwide Series. He was 21st in practice.
Another car you can see that's really, really skewed out in the back.
Sideways Sam.
We talked about this in our practice show. If you look at the sides of these race cars, they're almost like a piece of plywood. And you're not looking for mechanical grip by skewing the rear end. It's basically to do with side force. It's trying to get that side out in the air and just put side force on the car that makes the car go through the corner.
Yeah, it's got to feel, I've never driven a car all skewed out like that, but it's got to feel a little odd entering the corner. But it must be like when you put it into the turn and it gets into the banking, it just plants the car from all that air on the side of it.
Not bad for Hornish, 11th with a 28.53. He is the second fastest Don. Fastest cowboy in Texas right now is with Matt Yoakum.
P1 is the 00, David Rudiman. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how edgy was your fast lap?
It's pretty edgy. I don't know. It's probably coming to the green is about an 8, and then the car settled in and drove really well. I had a great Airstream machine, but you know, coming to the green when you come through there, try to come through there as wide open as you can, and if thing's a little free, automatically makes you think it's going to be like that on the exit of 2, and I lost a little bit of time there and probably a little time off 4. But overall, great effort for my guys, Rodney Childers, and everybody doing a great job. Had a good Airstream machine since we unloaded, so hopefully we can carry that on to Sunday.
And Mike, on pit road here, Steve Letarte and Jeff Gordon were standing side by side, and Gordon leaned in and said, "See, I told you it's going to take at least a 35.
Yeah, we quoted him. We believed him.
Yeah.
But you know, one thing that David talked about as we watched Kevin Harvick start his qualifying run, you see everybody running one lap. One of the most critical parts of the qualifying lap is getting through 3 and 4 coming to take the green.
Yeah, you got to leave pit road. Michael tells me this all the time. You got to leave the end of pit road down here and just go as hard as you can go. You can't be a lackadaisical and just bring her up to speed kind of casually. You got to get after it from the time you leave pit road till you get finished.
Kevin Harvick has 2 top 10 starts here. 4th for the fall race in 07. He has 4 wins in the Nationwide Series, and he's won the last 2 Saturday races in NASCAR, in Bristol, in Nationwide, and last, well, not Saturday.
Monday.
Yeah, the Monday race Saturday. Saturday race Monday in the trucks.
Monday.
Harvick, 28.59, is 13th. Dick?
Well, the guy that wins the pole for the race on Sunday is going to get a shotgun, but I think Mark Martin already has a huge gun, a cannon on his side. He's got the same car that he won the pole with at Atlanta, and he's also been fastest in practice. What is there about this thing that makes it so quick?
Oh, it's just the guys that are working on it, man. Everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, and it's pretty cool. Got Cheez-It on the hood this weekend, so I want to give a shout out to the Big Cheese, and we'll see what the lap is. The car's fast. We weren't the fastest at the end of practice, but we weren't at Atlanta either at the end of practice. It all depends on what happens when I land down there in the corner. If it sticks, then I'll get after it and go and make my time up. And if it doesn't, we'll hope to get us a good starting spot.
If you want to predict a winner, you might consider this guy. He's got 3 nationwide wins and a cup win here, Mike.
Thanks, Dick.
And that landing thing is something you hear the drivers say all the time, and that's what it feels like. When you come off the straightaway, you go down into the corner, down into the banking, and that car goes down there and it smacks right into the racetrack. And if it sticks, you mash it wide open. If it doesn't, you wait on it.
A.J. Allmendinger started 5th here in the fall race of 07. He is 16th right now at a 28.67. Jeff Burton will be next up. He's been here since 1997, where he won from 5th starting position. But he has yet to qualify in the top 10. That day the field was set by points due to rain. His best Texas time trial, 20th.
Tell you what, he's looking pretty sporty with this 31 car about halfway down the back straightaway, especially considering in practice he was 24th quickest.
Ooh, middle of, or going into 3.
And now we know why he was 24th quickest. Real good in 1 and 2, but not so good in 3 and 4.
Well, he qualifies, right on top of his teammate Kevin Harvick, a 28.55 to a 28.59.
Yeah, but he did. He looked really good at 1 and 2, but when he got to 3 and 4, the car just wouldn't stick for him, and it washed out. This little car ought to run. I think this little guy here is going to get a pretty good run here, Larry, the 12 car.
I was looking where he ended up in practice, and it ended up 9th quickest in this Dodge.
He has 6 nationwide starts and 4 cup starts here. Best start of 14th.
These Penske cars are running. I'm thinking part of it may be give credit to that engine, the new engine that they're running. Seemed to be making a lot of steam. Got a lot of giddy up.
Wasn't very fast coming to the flag, though.
Yeah, he's going to
10th or 11th. Yeah. Packed it down into one and paid the price.
Hurt him.
He'll pay the price all the way down that back straightaway.
Yeah, that car went all to pot down there in the middle of 1 and 2. Not getting any better either.
He's not getting through the middle or off the corner. He won't be not happy at all with this.
I think car's real loose with him, what it appears to be.
Yeah, that'll be a pretty disappointing run for Stremme. I think he's 20th at a 28.80. And given the potential that car showed in practice, not the result they were looking for. Coming up, Kurt Busch and the Rocket. David Ruderman is fastest so far. Talking it over with the team. And here is Kurt Busch, who could put a scare into Ruderman. He was 3rd fastest in practice. He's never started on the front row here. 3rd is his best start. That was in the fall of 2006. But he started front row for 2. Outside front row qualified for both 1.5 mile truck races in 2009, track races in 2009. That's right.
And he was 3rd quickest in practice.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here. That 12 car was fast in practice, and this car was too, but they've made the wrong adjustments for qualifying.
Wow.
Yeah, not good at all. In fact, he's 19th.
A little tight up front.
Well, he and David Stremme are right on top of each other, so those two teams appeared to compare notes and go in exactly the same direction.
Yeah,
and it wasn't forward.
I think that these cars are so sensitive to minor adjustments, and that's what you try to do from practice to qualifying. You try to make a minor adjustment and to make the car better, and sometimes it doesn't work.
What I was trying to say was that Kurt was on the outside pole at Las Vegas and at Atlanta, the 2.5-mile tracks we've had so far this year.
And we were expecting, and at least I was, for him to really come here with a lot of confidence based on the fact that they ran so well at Atlanta.
The Rocket has 2 poles at Texas Motor Speedway, 2005 and 6, and now he has 2 top 10 finishes in a row and jumped a whole bunch in the Sprint Cup points last week. Boy, that needle went right to the top and right back down again as he packed it in one. Didn't get off 2 quite so well.
Still recovered pretty nicely down the back straightaway. See what happens here in 3 and 4. Lost a little bit right in the middle.
Made a late entry into 3. Looked like it really hurt his time.
15th for Ryan Newman with a 28.62. His boss Tony Stewart a 28.45. Newman was 12th in practice.
So we've got about 5 more cars before we get to our go or go home group, it looks like. Got a little more than that. We had a little scoring monitor snafu.
I was so busy eating one of Gossage's hot dogs here that he sent up to us. I almost missed that, Larry.
These were not flown in from Martinsville. These are Texas hot dogs, Texas Twisters.
Yeah. Okay. Hot rod hot dogs.
We'll try some after the show. How's that?
That's it.
We've got 10 more cars to go before go or go home qualifying, including this man here, Clint Boyer.
The 5th at Martinsville moved Boyer up 1 spot to 2nd in the Sprint Cup standings, and Boyer is making a believer out of all those people that left him off their list of drivers who would make the chase.
I didn't really leave him off. I'm just surprised that he's such a factor. You know, I didn't ever count him out as far as how well he would do with this team, but I think they're overachieving what I thought they could do right off.
16th in practice for Clint. Boy, this is a good looking lap. 200 miles an hour off into the corner.
But you see it hit the bumps and it lost speed.
Yeah.
His teammates are 13th, 14th, and 24th. This will be the last Childers car to go. 198 getting off into turn 3.
He's got the speed on the straightaway. It's just car's not sticking for him in the turn so hot.
He's looking for his first top 20 start of the year, and he's 15th at a 28.60.
In fact, 3 of the Childers cars are right there together at a 55, a 59, and a 60.
And they all look the same going around the track. Looked a little stobbed up in the back to me.
And he's going to play 2. Second lap is slower by 0.2.
You're just not going to run faster on that second lap. And you know, this race team, Matt talked about it in the practice show. They're racing with a heavy heart this weekend. Their second truck driver, Michael Lance, at the age of 42, passed away this past Wednesday.
He's a confident young man. Sitting there, David Ruderman.
Still got a ways to go, though.
Yeah, but I think he's feeling pretty comfortable with his qualifying spot right now.
Well, here is one of the favorites for Sunday to be sure. Carl Edwards is a 3-time winner at Texas Motor Speedway, and 8 of his 16 wins have come on these 1.5 mile tracks. Started outside pole here last year, but has not time trialed better than 16th so far this year, and he hasn't won yet.
Yeah, I think the advantage that they had last year, though, was some of that stuff they were doing with the skewed out rear ends. I think they had an advantage last year, but like all advantages, everybody catches up with you sooner or later. Looking pretty good right now on the tracker.
Yeah, he's catching up with the front row right here.
He eased it down into turn 3, got to pick that throttle up.
Too high, though, Larry.
Yep.
Got in a little high, couldn't get it cut down to the bottom, kept him from getting back to the gas.
Not a bad lap, but not a great one. 12th.
Nope.
For Carl Edwards, 28.54.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be that happy with that, considering they were 7th in practice.
Coming up, Jamie McMurray, Mark Martin, who was fastest in practice, and Reed Sorensen. Tonight on Speed, the work week is over, and it's time to get fired up for another NASCAR weekend on Speed. The biggest names in NASCAR. Give me a big name for Friday night on
Greg
trackside.
Biffle, how about that? Is that big enough?
Yeah, it's a big name.
He's a winner here at Texas Motor
Even in
Speedway.
Texas, that's a big name.
Yes, it is.
7 o'clock Eastern. NASCAR on Speed. Be there.
We'll have David Gilliland on as well, talking about his fight to try to get back into the top 35 in owner points after this race.
Well, I'm disappointed. You know, I thought surely you'd have said Jeff Hammond, but I guess Biffle maybe is a bigger name than Hammond, I guess.
There's a line there.
Yes, there is. I just don't
Meanwhile,
know what it is.
Jamie McMurray and the Valvoline Sears for Sears Auto Care Ford Fusion.
Not good.
Motors around at 27th. That's a 28.84, and that's the wrong end of the chart.
Yep.
You'll definitely be the slowest of the Roush Fenway camp.
It's way too tight.
Yeah, he started 4th here last fall, but not that kind of result. Dick?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. has had a bunch of firsts here at the Texas Motor Speedway. His first ever nationwide win was here. First ever Cup win was here. If he wins the pole today, it's going to be the first one since he won the pole here last year for the spring race. Well, looked good in practice. What do you think?
Yeah, all the Hendrick cars are running really good. Power's good. And, you know, we got a pretty good draw, so we'll see what we can make of it.
Okay, well, good luck with it.
We got one of those Hendrick cars out there on the racetrack right now. He was the fastest cat in the alley in practice.
He's either going to run a 28.28 or he's going to run a 28.34.1.
One of 4 drivers who started all 16 Cup races at Texas. The others, Jeff Burton, Jeff Gordon, Bobby Labonte. Oh.
Didn't carry any speed off the corner. Carried it down in the corner at 199 miles per hour, but he started losing it from the center off.
These cars just do not like that. They like for you to get out of the throttle early and let the car plant, let it set, let it land, as they say, and then mat it.
And Darrell, I get a feeling listening to some of these drivers that the cars are tight. They're not turning. His Markin's up 19th quickest with his 5 car. You're in the throttle so much, if the front end's pushing, it's just got the thing bound up. It just won't go off the corner.
Got 850 horsepower, but it won't overcome those 2 front tires.
No, sir.
Reed Sorensen and Brian Vickers next. Welcome back to Texas Motor Speedway. As Reed Sorensen from Atlanta, Georgia, comes out to take his qualifying run in the McDonald's Dodge.
He was 38th quickest in practice earlier.
And he started 9th here in the fall race last year. His best qualifying effort in 6 Texas starts.
You know, there were a couple years ago when Chip Ganassi racing with Felix Sabates that Reed Sorensen drove for, they had a pretty good handle on this place. Their cars were qualifying in the top 5 or 10 and finishing there as well. Not going to be a good run on this one, though, on this 43 car.
Nope. No, he beats one car, his teammate Elliott Sadler, with a 28.88. He is 29th.
And Allmendinger's back there. He's 21st quick. And there's Elliott and Reed, 29th and 30th. But one bright spot, the 9 car.
Yeah, Casey Kane is 6th. Brian Vickers up next, has 6 Sprint Cup poles, and one of them came here in the fall race of 2006. This year he won the pole at California.
And he is the track record holder here, that he did that in November of 2006 at a 27.51, 196.2. I think that old track record will stay safe today.
I don't think this car will ever get to that point. They might make it better, but they'll never make it that good.
Might take some new asphalt to get there.
Take something. Solid so far.
Yeah, plenty of speed coming to the flag.
Like that entry down into turn 1. Looked nice and smooth. The car got across the bumps. Lost a little bit of time out of 2. Ooh, lost a lot of time.
But very little give up in the middle of 1 and 2.
Looked good to the exit. Now the car's up the hill. That tells you that the car was tight off at 2, used up a lot of tire getting off at 2, got some heat in there, wouldn't turn when he got to turn 3.
And a great lap turns into a pretty good lap. 28.60 for Brian Vickers. He is 16th. It's going to be one hell of a day with a Bull Run Marathon on speed. From victory to elimination and all the explosive rivalry in between. Catch up the first 7 episodes with the Bull Run Marathon beginning 12 Eastern, April 12th. Only on Speed. Bull Run with Bill Goldberg. Four drivers to go before we enter knockout qualifying for the final 8 spots.
Now watch Juan. Watch what he does down here in 3 and 4. If he does his normal routine, he's going to go into turn 3 and 4 up here really high, higher than anybody you've seen all day.
Trying to get that run to the green flag.
And you'll say, oh, there's something wrong with this car. No, that's his theory. Get up there high and get that run, kind of like you do at Daytona, heading down to the start-finish line. Now watch him. Most likely he'll take it right around the middle, trying to cut it down to the bottom there. He's just got a little bit different technique for his qualifying run, different theory.
He was right at 200 miles per hour off into turn 1, 197 off into turn 3.
Qualified 4th fastest at Daytona and Atlanta. 14th in the standings with 4 top 15s.
He'll end up 15th quickest with his 42 car at a 28.59.
Just a little bit of a little over 2/10 off the pole right now.
It's unbelievable, though. I mean, we've got a low 4 like a 42 that's 3rd, and we got a high 50 like a 59 that's 16th.
Now that's father and son sitting there. And you know what Dad is talking to son about? Now son, if you win that pole, you know I'm going to run Saturday night. I need a new set of tires. So can you help me out? Can you help a brother out here? Can you help an old man out?
Jimmy Johnson has started in the top 10 here 7 times. Now also next Saturday at Barrett-Jackson, Rick Hendrick is going to auction off a 3-time race-winning car of Jimmy's, and all the proceeds will go to the Hendrick Center at the Levine Children's Hospital in Charlotte. Great chance to own a big winning race car, offered at no reserve at Barrett-Jackson. You'll see it live on Speed next Saturday.
I see how this works. He went out to, where were you guys?
Scottsdale.
Yep. Bought a lot of cars. Now he's going to go down to Florida and sell a lot of cars.
Sell a couple,
yeah.
Sure.
He's a car guy.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
Tell you what, this has been an interesting lap with this 48 car. He used up a lot of racetrack off turn 2, and the reason the tracker keeps jumping around so much is it's because we have such a tight group of cars right there. But they'll end up 9th quickest was the 48 car, and I felt like this car and the next car are the 2 biggest bullets that's left that David Ruderman will have to dodge.
Jimmy Johnson and Dale Jr. Correct.
I think our go or go homers, I just didn't see anybody showing enough strength in that practice to get up there and sit on the pole.
No, Max Pappas probably, he has top 10 potential, but I'm not sure that's a a potential pole winner. On the other hand, the difference between 10th and 1st is less than 2/10 of a second. So who knows?
Listen to Dale Jr. as he hustles that car up through the gears, trying to build as much speed as he can. Heading down the back straightaway. Now let's see how long he stays out of the throttle here. Not very long.
Well, he knows the way. He's a 2-time pole winner here.
He knows right, you know, he knows right now almost if he's got a chance or not. How that car goes into turn 3 and comes off turn 4 on this coming to the green lap tells you a whole lot about what you can expect.
198 into turn 1.
I think again, I'm surprised how the bumps are upsetting these cars, but we didn't see it all through practice. It looks like it's really upsetting them in qualifying trim.
Well, I think they're trying to run so much faster through there than they were in practice.
And a little more tape maybe, and it just plants that nose a little harder, and that's what we're seeing here with some of these guys, I believe. Not happy with that.
Nope. Midfield, 20th for Dale Jr. at a 28.61. Martin Truex is next, then knockout qualifying. So at Phoenix next week, the Speed Cantina has all new menu items. They have Larry Mac tacos. I can't believe they don't have a Jeff Hammond hot dog, but it's a Jeff Hammond hamburger. Close enough.
Close enough.
Emphasis ham. Just outside Gate 2, Thursday through Saturday of Phoenix Race Weekend. Visit PhoenixInternationalRaceway.com for all the details.
I actually thought the Jeff Hammond menu item would be a turkey burger.
No, a turkey sandwich maybe.
Ham burger, if you will. Here's Martin Truex, the Bass Pro Shops Chevrolet, the pole winner here for the fall race of 2007. Pole sitter for Daytona. 1 top 10 finish this year.
I'm surprised, you know, guys. I thought the track might get a little quicker at the end of the session here. If anything, I think it's slowed down a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a while since we really have had anybody crack the top 10 with the exception of Jimmy Johnson.
Yep.
Well, we mentioned of the go-or-go homers who start next. Truex 29th, by the way. There is one driver with a shot at the top 10. Mad Max. Here's Dick.
Yeah, indeed. But the problem is with the shot at the top 10, if you drive the car too hard, you load her up and go home because you're not a guaranteed starter. So how fast are you going to run this time trial?
You know, my goal is making the show first. You know, that's what we are looking at with the Geico Toyota. And whatever else comes is going to be a bonus. You know, we are still building our experience. I'm very excited about being here in Texas. And, you know, it's a special thing to drive in a Sprint Cup. It's a joy.
It's special to have you here. Thank you. Welcome.
Max saying hi to his family, his 2 sons. And we'll start with Mike Bliss. This is go or go home qualifying. Mike was 7th of the go or go homers. He started 6th here in 2005. And let's
hold on to it, Mikey.
See if he gets to celebrate his birthday on Sunday here at the track.
Tell you what, that bobble off turn 2 didn't hurt him as much as I thought it was going to, but it's starting to accelerate on around turn 3 and 4.
Mainly because he never lifted, but it did hurt him some. Had a good lap going until that happened.
Well, the car was borderline in practice for making the show, so Bliss had to let it all hang out, and did. He is 27th with a 28.72 on lap 1.
Now, I think we will see a lot of these go-or-go homers, unless they really run a good solid lap, like maybe in the 40s or 50s. They have to run the second lap. You want to go down swinging. Mike got this car in the show at Atlanta a few weeks ago.
Yeah, you don't want to go home with any doubt in your mind.
Shut her down.
You don't want to go home with any doubt in your mind that you left something on the table.
Right.
Even though you know it's going to be slower, you got to go for it.
Now here's the practice order of the drivers who must qualify on time. We mentioned Bliss was 7th of those. The fastest 7 plus Bill Elliott will start the race on Sunday.
And when you got down there about Keselowski, Speed, Blaney, I mean, we were talking hundreds and thousandths of a second that was separating that group in practice session.
Right. Next up is Scott Riggs. Now he was 12th of the 13 go-or-go homers in practice.
You spend $150,000 to come down here and you get knocked out of the race by thousands.
Yeah, it all comes down to thousands.
It's all about thousands, yeah.
Tommy Baldwin Racing. Boy, Riggs had a good entry into the corner.
It
doesn't
it just
always translate the other side.
Pay off.
No.
I think I'd rather see the tracker go the opposite way, getting in, but then really see it come on as you come off the corner. I think that's the thing that some of these guys are missing.
And the one car I noticed that really did that consistently at both ends, right now he's sitting 7th, was Tony Stewart in a 14 car.
Takes a lot of discipline, man, because you think the harder you drive, the faster you'll go.
Yeah, Riggs is in trouble. 36th of 7, 29.35. Got to pick up.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd feel good at all about a lap, at least not in the 28-second bracket. They made the first 2 races of the year, and then by virtue of the field being set by points at Martinsville after qualifying was rained out, they got their 3rd start of the year last weekend.
But the car was just way up the track on this second lap, and that's going to really hurt the time.
Marginally slower. It'll be a tough day for Scott Riggs and the Tommy Baldwin team.
And Riggs is a good qualifier.
Yes.
I mean, we know from a past experience, if the car's got speed in it, he'll get it out.
Brad Keselowski in the GoDaddy.com Chevrolet. This is a Hendrick entry. They are allowed, in addition to the 4 teams they're allowed to run full-time, allowed to run a 5th car for a rookie a limited number of times in the season.
And you know, if there's probably a good weekend to do double duty, it would be here this weekend, because all of the nationwide practice and qualifying was yesterday. That garage is closed today. All they do is race tomorrow. So people like Brad Keselowski, that doesn't have a lot of Sprint Cup Series starts, can focus totally on this car today.
Brad made his first Cup Series start here last fall and finished in the top 20.
I tell you what, he had a great run in that start that he made here back in November.
Not so much today. This car, again, it just lost a lot of speed down in the middle of middle of both corners. Looks like the car just won't turn.
All he lacks for being in the safe zone, Darrell, is about 2/10.
Yeah, it's in fact, he's going to be the slowest of, well, he is a little faster than Scott Riggs, just a little bit.
28.97. He is 36th.
It's still a little early, but you know that 28.72 Mike Bliss laid down as far as the go or go homers is not looking too bad.
Pretty good, doesn't it? Like I said, I'm shocked that the track hadn't picked up speed. It almost appears to me it's lost speed. All these cars going late have not run anything near what they practiced.
And his second lap is slower. So Keselowski and Riggs at risk right now of missing the Samsung 500 on Sunday. Next, Jeremy Mayfield, Bill Elliott, and David Gilliland as knockout qualifying continues. Jeremy Mayfield in the All-Sport Toyota was the pole sitter here in 1998 for Roger Penske, and then finished 5th the following year. His best results at Texas, but he's missed 3 races in 09, Las Vegas, Atlanta, and Bristol.
Yeah, he was the 3rd slowest of the go or go homers earlier today. I tell you what, the exit of these corners are just throwing these guys an absolute fit. Like you say, once they especially start getting across those bumps.
It just gets the car up the hill where there's not enough grip in the track, and you can't get it to turn. It just bogs you down.
You could see his left front just jump in turn 2 as he went over that bump.
You got a handful of steering wheel cranked to the left, coming off a corner just slows you down so much.
Well, he is right there in between Keselowski and Riggs with a 29.13, and you know, right now that's kind of got a going home look to it.
Boy, and it's a sick feeling after that first lap when they call you and tell you got to pick it up, and you've already done all you can do.
Now he is a 10.5 off of Keselowski and 0.4 off of Mike Bliss in the battle to get in the show.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be any better.
No, second lap 0.2 slower. So Mike Bliss looks safe. He is not yet guaranteed in. He needs to beat one more car to accomplish that.
Oh, Awesome's going next.
And we know he's in the show,
and
either
so
by past champions provisional or by his time, which was 6th fastest of the go or go home group in practice. Elliott has 1 pole here, 5 top 10 starts. Of course, that pole came in his in his number 9 in 2002. Last 3 races, he's been here for the Wood brothers, who bring this motorcraft forward. You know, it was odd last week with no number 21 at Martinsville.
Yeah. That was.
You know,
definitely. Even when they ran a limited schedule, they still would run Martinsville.
Yeah, and say here, like here today, when you have the Champions Provisional and you know you're going to be able to use it if you need to, it gives you a lot of options.
Yeah.
You don't have to work on qualifying if you don't want to. And he was 40th quick in practice. I'd say they probably didn't work much on qualifying, maybe just worked on a race setup.
I talked to Bill this morning, and he had a lot of bounce in his step, and I think the biggest reason, there's another Elliott on the horizon. His 13-year-old son, Chase Elliott, made his ASA Late Model Series debut last weekend down in South Georgia Motorsports Park. Bill said, I went and spotted for him, which was probably not the right thing to do. He said, I was nervous about him qualifying for the race. He qualified and finished 6th in his very first late model race. Biggest factor, 13 years old.
Wow. Wow. Bill Elliott is 35th fastest, 28.87. We know he will race in the Samsung 500. It's just a question of where he falls among the 8 drivers that this qualifying session will put into the show.
David Hyder, the crew chief on that, they've done a really nice job of picking and choosing their races and coming well prepared. Bringing a car that's kind of detailed out, immaculate looking automobile. I think that's a good strategy for the Wood.
David Gilliland, who will be on trackside later this evening along with Greg Biffle, started 7th here in 2006. Now he is just, they come in here just 3 points out of the top 35. Hoping to get back up in there. Wow, Gilliland sailed it off into the corner, didn't he?
And see what happened.
That tracker goes right fast.
And you could tell the driver coming down to turn 1 on his qualifying lap to back off early, and he still wouldn't do it. It's just not in you. It's not in you to let up before you get there.
But you know, this may be just fast enough to maybe put him in pretty good shape, because I think he's going to beat 3 of the go homers on this lap. He should.
You're right, 28.74.
He's down at 30th place there, just below Bliss, who's 27th, the quickest of.
So that's a pretty good lap.
It's okay.
And I think Slugger Labby will tell him, you know what, you're not going to run any faster on lap 2, and I think David knows it.
You know, for this team though, and David, for what they have and what they've produced, it's been pretty impressive.
Yes, it has.
Good little solid race team, you know.
Next weekend, the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series is off for Easter weekend, but Speed Channel will be in West Palm Beach, and Barrett Jackson, world's greatest collector car event, returns. A lot of great cars up for sale, all at no reserve. So pick your favorites and see what they'll sell for beginning at noon Thursday. Noon Eastern only on Speed.
You're going to be there, right?
Yeah, wouldn't miss it.
Good.
Wouldn't miss it.
Better not bring anything that's not right down there, guys. I can tell you that.
He'll find it, won't he?
We'll have some fun.
My hound dog over here will sniff it out.
Eric Almirola is making trying to make his 7th run of the season.
This is not going to be good at all for this 8 car.
Thing was slow up off the corner. I mean, really slow off of turn 4 there.
Ooh, 39th overall, and he beats 2 of the Go homers with a 29 flat. He's going to have to pick it up.
This should be pretty good news for Mike Bliss.
A little more.
You need a whole lot more, actually.
Yeah. The car right here is where the car really is struggling. It starts up the track, got a ton of steering wheel into it, and it just really kills his speed.
It's his first time here in a Cup car. He has 4 Truck Series races here, but that second lap is slower by nearly half a second.
That's either marginally in or marginally out.
Yep.
Cloud.
Yep, I agree with you, brother.
So Mike Bliss is in. He will celebrate his 44th birthday on the racetrack. Here's our Advance Auto Parts upcoming schedule for Friday, trackside at 7. And then Saturday, you'll see the NASCAR Nationwide Series race over on ESPN2 Saturday afternoon. Here on Speed Saturday, we'll have a couple of rounds of Sprint Cup practice for you.
You know something I've just noticed, and I think it must be a factor. There's a huge wind blowing right now. And it's blowing from across turn 1 or off of turn 1 and across the track up in the middle of 3 and 4, I think it must be blowing these cars up the hill down here in 3 and 4, because I haven't seen anybody be able to hold the bottom very well.
Not since Denny Hamlin tickled the apron going into turn 3. You're right, Darrell.
I think we had a crossing wind when we started, but it's really changed, and pretty strong wind out of the west now.
Max Pappas needs to get past that green line. That is David Gilliland to be sure of being in the show. The big log jam of go-or-go homers is from 38th through 41st. And he needs to be above that group. Trying to make his second oval track start in the Sprint Cup Series.
Now, it's a good-looking 3 and 4. I don't know if it's enough or not.
It's going to be right in the middle of that entire go-or-go-home group, though.
Better than Keselowski at 38th with a 28.95, so he is 4th of the go-or-go homers.
He's on the right side of that group.
Yeah,
he's at the top of them.
Oh, hang on to her, Max. Yeah, that was just enough. A 95 to a 97. Keselowski with a 97. Could have been just enough.
It's going to be good news for David Gilliland, though.
Yes, the green line 30th is David Gilliland, and this run by Pappas locks in Gilliland.
He's just on the right side of that group, I think.
Yep. Oh, it's going to be close. There are 5 go-or-go homers left to go. NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying on Speed is presented by Subway, home of the famous always made fresh $5 footlong. Subway, eat fresh. And brought to you by True Value, the tools, products, and expert advice for all your project needs. True Value. Start right, start here. Dave Blaney is our next go-or-go homer, looking to make his 6th start of 2009 for Prism Motorsports. He has one top 15 start here at Texas.
Yeah, this whole car has been up in the middle of them a couple of times. Top 10 qualifying run at Bristol, and has qualified pretty well a couple of times.
He kind of struggled in practice, Darrell, and right now he's going to be on the wrong side of those go-or-go-home guys, it looks like.
I think you're right, buddy.
7th of the go-or-go homers.
Gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
And Blaney was 10th of that group in practice. There are still 4 of them to go, so you're right. This would put him on the wrong side of the board.
I think I'd have rather heard something more encouraging than it's not going to do it, but
facts are facts.
I think it's, can you pick it up a little or something?
He can. He's going to do what nobody else has been able to do on a second lap.
It's a better looking lap, but not.
Same exact thing, just plows the center.
Yep, you're right, buddy.
41st for Blaney. That will lock Max Pappas into the show, and Scott Riggs goes home. So Pappas will get to run his 2nd Sprint Cup oval race. And right now the ins are Bliss, Gilliland, Bill Elliott, and Pappas. The lone out is Scott Riggs.
You know, Mike and Darrell, I talk to a lot of these crew chiefs week in and week out, like the crew chief on Scott Speed of Jimmy Elledge, and these guys will tell you this is the most gut-wrenching experience that you will go through in all of automobile racing. You prepare, you drive halfway across the country with your race car, and know it comes down to one lap whether you're going to race or not.
Fridays ruined the end of my career. I mean, you know, if I can get qualified on a Friday and get in the race, I usually race pretty decent. But Friday's just trying to get that one fast lap. It just unless you've got a really good team and a really good car, it's hard to do.
And Scott Speed is flirting with locking himself in the show. Now, he did race here last fall, started and finished 33rd in the Cup race, but
plowing.
I don't think this is going to do it. It's not going to do it.
It's plowing. I mean, he couldn't get it to turn down into 3 at all. Got him up the hill just a little too far.
42nd, 29.06. He will lock Brad Keselowski in with this run, and it will send Jeremy Mayfield home.
This car has potential to pick up on the 2nd lap. Only one I've seen. Depending on how he gets into this turn, and if he can get it to, no, it won't stay down for him. He had a much better 1 and 2, but the car just will not cut. And I swear, I think that wind is blowing these cars up the hill over there in turn 3.
I think you're right, Darrell. 2nd lap, same as the 1st. So Speed is not out, but he is on the bubble right now.
But our 2 Cinderella stories from earlier in the year, Mayfield and Riggs, looks like they're going home again.
And that's been the story ever since race number 3 at Las Vegas.
Yep.
So 3 drivers to go. Regan Smith, Todd Bodine, Joe Nemechek, and 3 drivers who have already run who are at risk. Almirola, Blaney, and Scott Speed.
Now this is another team I think a lot like the Wood Brothers, Furniture Row Racing. I think the smartest thing they did was throttle back, pick and choose your races, and they're much better prepared. They have qualified for the 2 races they've showed up to this year.
Last year they had Joe Nemechek. Now they have last year's Rookie of the Year, Regan Smith. They ran Daytona and Las Vegas.
Well, just remember, this car won the pole at Talladega with Joe driving it. So it has pole potential at Talladega. I'm not sure about today, but
all he's thinking about today is getting in this show. He's not even worried about the pole, and right now he's looking pretty good, unless what happens to so many cars happens over there in turn 3 and 4. But right now he's looking like he's going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. Well, he was 3rd of the go or go homers in practice. He'll be at least 3rd among them right here, and he is 33rd at a 28.80.
Darrell, you'll like this. You know, their shop is in Denver, Colorado, which is about an hour away from the old Pikes Peak Speedway. Joe Garrone told me they've been going over there and wearing that place out testing. And Regan Smith's been going all the way out there for all these test sessions.
So Smith is in. Scott Speed, the rookie, goes home. So the only rookie in the race, rookie contender, will be Joey Logano, who right now is 10th in qualifying.
Yeah, that's Logano. I mean, that's as good as we've seen out of him.
Yes.
Since, well, this year.
But Darrell, this is the first track that he has raced at and returns to. So
yeah, I think that's going to be the key to his success, is how he does in the second half of the year. If he comes back to some of these tracks and improves like we expect him to, he's going to be fine.
Now Todd Bodine was slowest in practice in the Gunselman number 64. He has 4 Cup starts here, but more importantly has 4 wins in the Camping World Truck Series here.
And it looks like it's not much better than what it was in practice right now.
Yeah, piece jumped a little sideways on him when it went through the bumps down there, and it hurt his speed on the
look. He just needs a little. Just needs to be on the left of that green line.
Just can't get it to cut.
Now Eric Almirola will be watching anxiously, because he needs this car to run a little slower than he will, and it will, at least on lap 1.
Yeah, 29.26. This is a go home lap for Todd Bodine. Unless he can pick up, he will lock Almirola in the race.
Run another one. I wasn't enough. 29.20.
Doug Richard, crew chief.
Yeah, if your car is pushing, which that's what most cars have been doing, it's not going to free up on lap 2.
No, those front tires get hot. They lose grip. They don't gain grip.
29.47, slower on the second lap, and Todd Bodine will not race on Sunday. Almirola, Eric Almirola, will. The Tampa driver is in the show.
There's Ruderman still hanging on the fence.
1 to go.
He won't even look now. He just, let me know when it's over.
Joe Nemechek said to go. We'll show it in a minute. But what a difference on Dallas Morning News poll day for the 00. 2008, it was on the front page the next morning. And 2009, it will be too, for different reasons.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Here is Joe Nemechek, the final qualifier in the Huckleberry's barbecue sauce.
Yeah, you'll be able to identify this 00.
Yeah.
I don't know if you could identify the last one.
And you know what? Joe Nemechek really and truly gave David Ruderman his first real shot at NASCAR driving a Nationwide Series car.
That's what attracted us to him. We saw how David got in Joe's car at tracks he'd never been to before, qualified up front and raced up front, and we thought, this guy's got a lot of talent.
Well, today, Front Row Joe, who started on the front row here in '98, is Gotta Go Joe. It's either Joe Nemechek or Dave Blaney for the final spot in the race. Blaney is the green line. It is going to be close,
but I don't think it's going to be there.
Nope.
Right now, he is 1/100th of a second behind Dave Blaney.
1/100.
1/100th. That's all.
What does starting last year Sunday pay?
Guys, right now he's okay. Let's see what happens through turn 4. There it goes. He just couldn't get through turn 4.
This is a big paying race. I bet
it's the 4th biggest paying race, or the 3rd biggest paying race.
I bet last place in this race probably 100 and some grand, 125, 30 grand.
Wow.
What a shame.
By a differential of 12 1/1000ths of a second, Dave Blaney will race here on Sunday. Wow.
There's the front row, the franchise and Big Daddy.
Looking good.
Well, let's meet the man who just banked the pole for the Samsung 500.
The 00 David Rudiman, the franchise, on the pole. I don't know what was bigger, to win the pole or to win the welder as your bonus for winning the pole.
That's why I had a bet with Bobby Kennedy for a new Miller welder if I sat on the pole, so I'm good. I needed one of those, but you know, just it felt great. The car was great. The Aaron Stream machine was great right off the trailer, and Rodney Childrens and everybody just made really good adjustments all day long. And man, we went out early. That was a long time to wait, and we dodged full bullets. But thank the Lord we ended up. It's a blessing to be where we are. Got a good pit selection, got a good starting spot, so I'm really proud of my guys.
And you describe the confidence, the excitement, everything within the team is you guys have really turned the corner.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and again, it all comes down to the people that we have around us. It's not, I'm not doing anything any different than I have been doing. Just I have really great people around me, and people believe in me. You know, Toad, I got to thank Toad and TRD, did a phenomenal job in building this great horsepower. And again, Aaron's for coming on board. We started out half a season sponsor, full season sponsor, and Aaron's makes this deal possible. So, man, I tell you, everybody at MWR, all the guys in the Fab Shop build me great cars, and my road guys doing a great job. So we're really excited.
The second time in his career, he's P1 when they dropped the green flag for a Sprint Cup race.
Thanks, Matt. More to come from Texas after this, but at the other end of the grid, the difference between Dave Blaney and Joe Nemechek, 12 one-thousandths of a second is worth $90,000.
Cha-ching.
David Rudiman's 00. Today it is the Dream Machine. It will be on the front page of the paper tomorrow, just as this car was on the front page of the Saturday paper last year for a whole different reason. Michael McDowell from Phoenix was the driver. An unbelievable crash that left everyone in Texas Motor Speedway standing speechless until McDowell emerged from that car unhurt. Thank goodness.
That was a testament to every piece of safety equipment that's been developed in the last 8 or 9 years.
Absolutely. So the Subway starting grid for Sunday's race looks like this, with Rudiman's Toyota, Gordon's Chevrolet on the front row, and the Roush Fenway Fords owning row 2.
I'm excited. I love a guy that's excited about getting a welder for winning the pole.
Where he worked on his dad's
That's
car.
my kind of guy right there.
But you know, we've had 16 races here, 13 different winners. And when I looked at that top 10, not a lot of those guys are part of those 13 different winners.
I think some of the disappointments, there were guys that went later on, and I've said it over again, I want to keep repeating myself, but I believe the wind really played a factor in some of these guys not qualifying like they thought they were going to.
Mark Martin was the fastest in practice.
Kurt Busch, number of guys.
Yeah, Mike Bliss, fastest of the Go Homers, 27th. Nice birthday present for him. Regan Smith, Bill Elliott timing in handily. No provisional needed.
Mad Max.
2 for 2 in 2009.
Boy, Almirola, when he made his run, we didn't think that'd be safe, but it turned out to be okay. And Dave Blaney holds on to the final spot. Somebody will get at least $90,000, and it won't be Joe Nemechek by a differential of 12 one-thousandths of a second.
It's the first show he's missed since the Daytona 500. He's qualified for the last 5.
It's a long way back to Charlotte, too.
Yes, it is.
So this is one of the more expensive road trips as far as going west.
And while last place pays at least $90,000, trying to make this race and missing it doesn't pay a dime.
Nope.
You get points and a thank you, as Eddie Gossage is going to present a Beretta shotgun to David Rudiman.
David Rudiman doesn't need a shotgun. I don't think
he
that's
just
a good
wants
idea.
a welder.
give him one of his electric welders with a rod in it.
Congratulations to David Rudiman and Michael Waltrip Racing, pole winners for Sunday's Samsung 500.
Second career pole for David Rudiman. He got one in the final race of the year at Homestead, Florida last season. So the improvement continues for Michael Waltrip Racing. Glad you're back with us here at the Texas Motor Speedway. Beautiful day, spectacular crowd at the Great American Speedway. Steve Burns joined by Hermie Sadler. And, you know, Hermie, we look in the top 10, a few surprises inside there.
It really is. I mean, and look at the top. David Reagan qualified 4th. He's been coming a long way, but you don't really look for him to be up front qualifying. Paul Menard qualified 5th. And Joey Logano, a good solid run for the 20 car, qualified in the top 10 as well. So good run for those 3 guys, in addition to the franchise, David Rudiman.
Yeah, David Rudiman picks up the pole position with a speed over 190 miles an hour as we watch Joey Logano. And this is big for that kid's confidence.
It really is. The first time he's qualified in the top 10 since Daytona. But this is a racetrack that he really struggled at here last fall, Steve. So for him to come back and qualify in the top 10, good pickup by those guys.
Let's go down into the garage now. Bob Dillner and Randy Pemberton are waiting there for us.
Well, the big celebration for David Rudiman, and all the nervousness now in the garage area has subsided. A couple of guys weren't expecting to go home. Regan Smith, you made the race, and I'll tell you what, that was nervousness right up until the final guy ran.
Yeah, it's, man, this stuff never gets easier, the go or go home stuff. It just, each week it's the same thing. You're on pins and needles till you get out there, and I don't know, there's a certain bodily function I probably could have done through a screen door at one point here a little while ago, so we'll take it. I'm happy the Furniture Row Chevy's in the race. We wanted to be a little better than that, but I didn't want to be stupid with the lap either. I knew we had, based on our practice time, the speed we needed to get in, and, you know, picked up a little bit from there, so I figured we'd be okay, so we'll take it.
Okay, 3rd race now coming up for you. How do you guys approach practice and try to get yourself another good finish? 21st and 19th, 2 good finishes so far this year.
Well, I'm actually more excited about my race car than I was my qualifying car, because when we put the number up on the board early in practice today, that was race trim there. So we did about a 5-6 lap run in race trim and was really happy with the race car. We're going to go back to that, make a few more adjustments based on what we learned there, and see what we got tomorrow. It's, you know, we're out of sticker tires now, so we'll see if we can get another good number up there and make it look good anyway. But I'm excited about my race car, too.
Congratulations on a qualifying effort. And one other statistic that bears mentioning one more time, this guy has finished every single one of the Cup races that he has entered, all 43. To Bob Dillner.
Well, Randy, Matt Kenseth, always strong here at the Texas Motor Speedway, but not necessarily in qualifying. A great qualifying effort for you here. You qualified 3rd. Where'd that come from?
I have no idea. Chip and Drew came up with some stuff, obviously, so we couldn't remember the 90 in practice, and they picked it up a half a second. It was like a new race car, so I feel pretty good about Sunday. We did a lot of race practice today, and it didn't look like it was very fast on the board, but in longer runs it seemed to be all right. So hopefully we can get the wall forward, keep it up front on Sunday.
Tomorrow you still have some practice to come. What do you need to accomplish tomorrow, Matt?
I just got to find that balance. Just it gets tough to pass here at times, although the track is really great and it really widened out, but you really got to make sure your car is turning real good and pretty far, I think. Not necessarily a loose side, but it's got to be turning a little too good because you get in dirty air, and with these cars it makes it really hard to pass. So I'm looking forward to practice tomorrow. I'm also looking forward to running a nationwide race. Should be a good time.
Good job by Matt Kenseth here at the Texas Motor Speedway. And guys, how about Jeff Gordon, the guy that's never won here on the outside pole?
Yeah, thank you, Bob. And want to mention Matt Kenseth real quick, a 2-time winner here in the Nationwide Series. He also has a Cup win, Hermie. I want to talk about the guys that did not make the show, Hermie. It's devastating for teams. Scott Speed, Jeremy Mayfield, Scott Riggs, Todd Bodine, and Joe Nemechek misses by 12 1/1000ths of a second.
Hey, man, and I've been there. That's a sickening feeling when you put your heart and soul and travel all the way across country, basically here to Texas to try to get in the show. We see these guys, Scott Speed, I mean, and as a driver, I mean, it's a team effort whether you win or lose, but as a driver, when you drive up after you've missed a race, take a look at Scott Riggs, you feel like you've let the whole world down, and very, very humbling feeling for a driver when you're doing that right there.
Hermie, coincidentally, I was on an airplane coming out here yesterday with Jeremy Mayfield, and he said, you know what, and I thought this was so eloquent of Jeremy, he said, don't feel bad for me. He said, I feel bad for the guys that work so hard, 15 hours a day, he told me, trying to get my race car ready to get here.
And this is a big race, too. I mean, they're all pay the same amount of points, but Texas is a big market. It's a big paying race, and these, you know, it's just one of those races you want to be in. That's why we had a big number of cars, you know, trying to get in this show. But you got to feel for the guys that don't make it. But this is a tough sport, and it's tough to get it done.
It can be a cruel business. I believe Mike Joyce said that $90,000 just to start this race. That's what Joe, and doesn't have a sponsor. Well, Hermie, let's take a look at the menu as we begin our journey towards NASCAR Smart. Don't forget Trackside, 7 Eastern, Greg Biffle and David Gilliland will join us.